Welcome to Conversations with Toy, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday! I hope that you have had the absolute amazing best week of all your life this week because you deserve it. You deserve this every single week. And I'm super glad to have you join us today. I should say join us because we do have a guest today. But we'll more into that in just a couple of moments. But if this is your first time tuning in to Conversations with Toy, welcome. This is the podcast where I will talk with you about mental health and wellness, what's happening in these internet streets, and everything else in between. And I'm so glad that you are here. I do believe that nothing happens by accident. I think every time that we come together, and that means when you're putting me in your ears and you're playing, let's say you're working out or you're folding up laundry, whatever that you're choosing to do while you're listening and tuning in, it is never by accident. So welcome to the podcast. Now, like I said, we have a guest. I'm going to introduce that guest in a few moments. But let's just talk about a couple of things that went down this week. It's been a very, very interesting week. From the guest that we have today that I had the elite, and I do mean the most elite opportunity to speak with, just blows my mind sometimes when these opportunities come. But a lot of things just happen. Like, it's just been a very, very good week, an easy flow of week. Let me just tell you, and that don't happen all the time. I felt like this was a slow week, but a fast week at the same time. And if you know how that feels when it's super slow, but it's also moving super fast. We have now officially crossed over into the fact that it is August the 1st. We are in a new month. That means we have new goals. We have new opportunities. We have new chances to make whatever we didn't do last month pop this month. So here's what I need you to do. I know that there are so many times when you're so bombarded with so many different ideas about what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And here is my first take of how you should start your month. Start your month off with a beautiful list. What are the things that you are truly trying to accomplish? This is almost like the last... Now listen, summer's going to be going for a while. We don't get to first day of fall till quite some time. But as people are starting to transition into the back to school, we start to see how the mindset begins to shift and change. So because of that, I need you to enjoy. I need you to enjoy your time. Don't waste not a second. You don't have a second to give. Not only because life is short, but because you truly just don't have a second to give. If you blink real quick, blink your eyes right now. Blink, blink, blink. Yeah. Time be going real quick. So because of that and the fact that you are deserving, I want you to enjoy the rest of your time because, again, some of y'all may be sending y'all kids to school next month. I still have until September, praise the Lord, and I'm grateful for that because I'm not fully ready. I'm just now getting around to ordering all the things. But I will tell you this. With today being the first, I can almost guarantee you by next week, I'm going to be ready to go. We're going to have shoes ordered, uniforms situated, school supplies ready. And let's get into this school supply debate. Now, I said we have a guest. I'm going to say that one more time. We have a guest. And you're going to be like, what? Listen, when I got the invitation to interview this guest, I said, oh my gosh, all these different thoughts, right? But let me tell you, one of the best interviews I have ever had in a long time, if not ever. Amazing interview. But you're going to hear that very soon. But let's get into this school supply debate. Y'all have been basically jumping out your skin, having these back and forth issues and debates about this back to school supply list. And let me just say this. Now, I'm grateful for the hard work, and I do mean the hard work that we put in and just the things that we've been doing to make sure that our kids have a quality education. Listen, if you know anything about living in the city of Philadelphia, you already know that if your child is in a public school, that it's either it's up or it's down. There's so many levels and things that are going on. And my husband and I made the very early dedication that we were going to put our children into some of the best schools And if that included being outside the city, then so be it. And so we have kept our word. We have honored our commitment, and our kids are doing great, and they're being super successful in the schools that they're in. But with that being said, we still have to buy school supplies. I think my twin, I believe my niece, she goes to a school where they supply about maybe 95%, and they ask you to come in with, like, when I say it's literally not even 5% of the school supply list, it's not. But with us having to buy the school supplies, I've never argued, fought, complained, had a fit about the school supply list. I remember when my oldest daughter went to kindergarten, when my oldest went to kindergarten, the only thing I said about the school supply list was that, my God, for kindergarten, this child was going to be the next president of the United States, because they had her, with so many things. But this is because, again, the thought process of she was only in kindergarten. What else could she be doing? She could barely write her name, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, guess what? Not only did I buy the school supplies, I sent an extra, and we're going to talk about that extra. And then in addition to that, I'm the first day of school teacher gifts type of woman. Like, that's just the type of mother that I am. I'm all like, make it bougie. I'm here for this, because these teachers are about to go to war for all how long they're going to be teaching our children. And the fact that some of these kids don't act right, it's a whole gamut of stuff, right? And so I make sure when that first day of school comes, they don't have to ask. They don't have to ask, what should they get? Everything they ask for, they're going to get it times 2. So let's fast forward to now, from having one child in school to now having 3. Having 3 kids in a private school is not for the weak. It's not for the faint, because you should already know that when the tuition bill hits, it's ready. Listen, I gotta make sure my anchor holds, because I gotta make sure we gotta make sure those payments go through, right? We gotta make sure that we're working hard. We gotta make sure that we make the sacrifice. We gotta make sure that we're doing whatever it is that we can to ensure that they have a great education. But now that I've gone from 1 to 3 children in school, let me just say, I'm not missing a beat. Now, my youngest daughter for this school year wants everything a certain level of pink, a certain color of pink. And when I tell you she found everything, even down to the fact that she wants her composition books. You remember the little black and white composition book? Oh, no. Miss Mann found a composition book that is in pink and that can have her name put onto it. Now, for everything else that doesn't have her name put onto it, we also always buy stickers. Now, I know this whole drama of don't label the supplies and label the supplies. I'm labeling them, and most of the kids in my kids' school will label them. The reason is extremely simple. You want to know where the school supplies go to, and those students, my student, all the students are able to then keep their supplies with themselves. They don't necessarily have to put them in a community. However, most of the parents, if not every last one of our parents, of the parents that go to my children's school, will send in extra. So then those supplies will then go to the community, not necessarily the ones that's specific to my child, which means, yes, I'm okay with sending in extra supplies as long as my kids get the supplies that they ask for. And you know what? Going back to school is already hard enough. You sat around all summer reading, you did your work all summer, you did all the things, and you relaxed to the max. But now it's time to focus and shift ourselves back into school. And the real fun part about back to school shopping is the back to school shopping for the children, not necessarily for the parents, because right now, I'm telling you right now, it is not the joy for the parents, because the money that we put out to go back to school is a lot. And there are a lot of families who simply cannot afford all the needs that the back to school comes with. We're not just talking about book supplies and books and school supplies. We're talking about new shoes. We're talking about uniforms. We're talking about all these different things. Every parent knows at the end of the summer, they're going to have to push all these thousands, and I do mean actual thousands of dollars out. Just so we're clear, right? And I know people will say, when I was in my day, in your day, you didn't have but 3 different supplies, and that's fine for you for that time. But the way that these kids are moving now, the things that they need now, it's going to be what it is that they need right now. And I know everybody wants to get in their spirit, and everybody wants to get all offended. Everybody wants to do all the things. But that, at the end of the day, does not change the simple fact that these things must happen. So I don't know why we're debating. I have no idea why we're having a fit and a fuss about simply school supplies. Give them teachers whatever they ask for. Send a teacher gift in the first day. It could be something super simple. It could be a cute little basket with some actual items that your teacher would need, to simply a new Stanley Cup with a gift card inside. Whatever the case may be, make sure you are super duper prepared for your children's first day of school. And because as a parent, we know that this stuff is happening at the end of the summer. Get them out of there, get them prepared, and get them ready to go by having them go to do whatever it is that they need to do when it comes to these school supplies. Because you know how embarrassing it would have to be for you to know that you're supposed to have school supplies, but your parents didn't want to get it, or they said that they couldn't afford it, or whatever the case may be. And let me just tell you, it ain't that easy. I remember, I won't say her name because her name is such an individualized name. She was in my elementary class. Yes, I go back all the way back. And I remember her parents just could not do it. She was living with her grandmother. I don't know if her mother or father, I know for a fact that they didn't have custody of her, but back when I was a kid, I didn't understand the word custody. But we knew that she was being raised by her grandmother. And so coming back to school would be a trigger. It would be a trigger because it's like, I know I'm coming back to the school year, but I don't have everything everybody else has. I don't even have some of the things that these people have. And now that's extremely and highly frustrating. So parents, do yourself a job. And yes, I know that there are a bunch of school supply drives that are happening. Get in it, because my kids, they never seem to have anything that my kids need. But what I will say, here in Philadelphia, a lot of the school drives, if they're through the city or they're through the school district, they will make sure that each student has the things that the teachers are already requesting to make it easy. Because it doesn't matter if you have a school supply and then you have a fundraiser and all these free things, and then you go to it, it's like 98% of the things that I actually needed are not even here. Now, again, these types of lists that people are doing, and when you have these drives, they're not going to supply every single thing. They're just not. So because of that, you got to do your job to prepare for that. I've already taken money that I've received from campaigns from last month, and I will be using that money towards making sure that they have everything they need. Like I said, we still got to do sneakers. We got to make sure uniforms are up to par. We got to make sure that they have their supplies. I have to put money on my daughter's account, my oldest, for her lunch and things. Like, there's so many different steps of things that we need to be focusing on, rather than sitting on the internet and arguing with people back and forth about your point in just that regards. Okay? Just put it out there. Now, we're going to come back and have another conversation later, but I want to introduce today's guest. Today's guest is none other than Bill Bellamy. Just take a second. Let's just take a second. Yes, we're talking the Bill Bellamy. And why that is super significant is the fact that now I am 44, I have no problem talking about my age. And I remember very explicitly when I was like 18, 19, and my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband, we would watch things like The Brothers. We would watch How to Be a Player, Any Given Sunday, all of these different movies we would watch. But here's the interesting part. Again, I saw him when he would play on Def Comedy Jam. When I mean just like the videos and things that we had back in the house. I was too young to be running around at no Def Comedy Jam, so that wasn't happening. But I think I watched it with my parents too. But either way, seeing him on these different avenues and stages from what he's done, and again, that's not all of these, and that's just a brief, quick synopsis of things that he has done, and then being able to see what he's been up to now with his new book. He has got all kinds of things going on with him and his wife being empty nesters. Like, there's so many different levels to him, so many different avenues of which he could go, and I love to hear that he's doing any and all the things. I love that. When I say any, I don't mean in a disrespectful way, meaning that he's just doing any and all thing. Like, no, it just means that he's not limiting himself to just being on the stage or just on the camera. He is making sure that he makes space for the things that he needs to do, and the writing and the podcast. He got a lot of things happening, but he will be here in Philadelphia next Saturday and Sunday at the City Winery. So that is August the 9th and August the 10th at City Winery. 2 shows per night. Make sure that you get your tickets. But without any further ado, we will get back to our conversations a little later, but we are here to listen to the one and the only Bill Bellamy. So much for tuning in. If you are tuning in for the first time today, listen, we have none other than Bill Bellamy here today on our podcast. I am super, super, super excited. Thank you, Bill, for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to have me. I love supporting, us, you know what I'm saying, and what we're doing to communicate to the culture, you know what I'm saying? So I'm proud of you too. And I just happen to be, lucky enough to come to one of my favorite cities. I have so much love for Philly. I spent so many summers as a teenager from like 9 to like 16 coming to see my aunties and my cousins and stuff. So I have always had love for Philly.
I love it. We all love to hear that. But
Yeah.
you are on a little, not even a little, you are on a national tour. So you have quite a few cities left to go. So how did this all come about?
Well, I top Billin Tour to me is a salute to two things. One, being at the top of your game. And I think that's everybody wants to be at the top of their game, thus top billing. Then also my book, which is top billing, stories of life lessons, uh, and Triumph, where, I have a very interesting story, a very interesting memoir of about what it takes to become somebody, what it takes to be a dreamer, what it takes to, have people, doubt in your talent and say, oh, you can't do that. And I'm a walking example that it can happen. You can do this shit, you dig? So that is why I love the title top billing, because I think a lot of people be like, yeah, I'm top billing too, you know what I mean? It's one of those catchy phrases, and it's the funny too, because what good is a comedy tour without it being ridiculously funny? We do obviously we do stand up, but like the stuff we do in the audience is crazy. Like we've had some viral moments. Once you get off that stage and you jump in that crowd, you just don't know what the hell Auntie gonna do, or Mr. Jones. You don't know Mr. Jones gonna stand up there and start singing from his heart. Like we do so much fun stuff with the crowd. I love it. It makes the show feel very interactive. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
And
I
different,
think it's
very
gonna be a
different.
little different. And
Right.
then the crowd that comes to City Winery, those are like some fun people. Those are people that like to spend money, drink good wine, and eat good food. So it's going to be a great, great, great collaboration.
I love that. And I definitely will be there. So my question to you, since you got your start doing Def Comedy Jam,
Correct.
but nowadays a lot of comedians are using online, which I know you've talked about before. Like you didn't have the influence of social media to use that as your you had to just go out there and perform and hope that people saw that you were funny and continue to want to come see you. So what do you think about the new comedians of the internet now?
Look, I like it. I like that it's giving opportunity to people to, get discovered. You know what I mean? Shoot, like why would they have to sit around waiting to be on TV when they could put something on the phone and people could see you? You never know what could happen. There's some people that have blown up from, being viral on the internet. I mean, I look at like different guys like Kai Cenat. Like this guy is a streamer and he's a streamer and he's had every celebrity touch his platform, right? So it doesn't matter. Like he didn't have to wait to be a TV show host. He did it
Hmm.
on the internet and is big. He's got sponsors. He's doing his thing. So I applaud him. Then I applaud, the new comedians that put these funny skits up. They take the time to edit them and stuff like that. They make us laugh. Everybody wants something to chuckle with in their phone, so I think that's cool. But the hard thing is to be a real comedian takes a lot of practice. Like you got to practice. So it's one thing to do a really funny skit, but you got to practice it just as hard on the stage too. You're gonna make mistakes. Some of your jokes might hit, some might not. But that's the beauty of the craft. Like just being in love with it. I always encourage all the comedians that ask me for advice. I'm like, yo, just do it with hunger. Like you want to be the best. Like go for it. And before you know it, you on shows with guys like me and see said and like DL or I work with Desi Banks. I work with Ryan Davis. I work with Jess Hilarious. I work with B Simone, DC Youngfly, Carlos Miller. I've worked with all the new cats, man. They're really good and they're good people too.
That's always good because you have over 30 years of experience in the
Yeah.
business, in the game. You're still going strong. Like, what do you like? What's your push to like continue doing what you do after having you had such a great career span for right now? What
Yeah,
makes
I
you
mean,
continue pushing?
I think what it is the love of it. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you young. It's like doing what you love to do. It doesn't feel like work. It's just like, oh my God, I get to do me. You know what I'm saying? And the beauty of stand up for me is like, yeah, this is my real personality. When you come see me, you be like, yo, Bill bugged out, he crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what made Bill say that? Oh my God. Like people be like, Bill, you whack. And that's dope because that's my real personality. Now,
Right.
when I'm doing a TV show or I might have like a role like when I was in Love Jones or How to Be a Player or Any Given Sunday, all these different movies are getting played like I'm playing a character. So it's maybe a little bit of me and then it's a vibe of something else.
Right.
So I feel like my stand up is my my personal story. You feel me?
I love that. So I want to talk to you because I know that your book Top Billing, you talk about a lot of different topics, but my conversation with you, I want to talk about is being an empty nester because
Yeah.
I'm in the trenches. I'm still in the trenches. I got a
Oh, okay.
16, a 13, and 11, so I'm still very deep in the trenches. But how has your life changed now that you have your daughter that's graduate, you got your son's second year? How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's different. Like it's a groove. Like it's almost like being an empty nester is like entering a new chapter in your marriage and in your parenthood because you have so many years like where you are right now. You have a routine and you got to get to practice and you got to go to school and this and you got to go to the PTA and you got to make sure your son and your daughter does their homework to get to this. There's so many rhythms to being a parent to it not being there is like it's almost like how do I describe it? It's almost like going to work, but you don't have nothing to do today.
That's what
you
I've been
know?
hearing across the board. Like that's
Yeah,
what I've been
because
hearing.
because they still need you. It's not like you stop being a parent. It's almost like you become a coach. Like instead of
Mm,
having to be on the field, your phone calls, your conversations, they're driving, they're getting themselves from here to there. So now you're able to be a different type of parent, I think, when you're empty nest. And then you rediscover your relationship because now you have more time to do stuff together.
right.
You know what I
So
mean? So we go ahead.
that togetherness that you are describing, how can people be prepared for that? Because I've heard different variations of people once they get to that point because they haven't had a solid maybe foundation before they get to that point, that's when they start to go left. So how did you build up to that?
Well, I think it's going to be different for every marriage or relationship. It just depends on what you built along the way. So if you didn't have, I met this couple maybe 15 years ago, and they were a really nice looking couple. They looked like they were having fun, and they were out. And my wife and I were like sitting next to them, and I was like, "Yo, what's going on with you guys?" And they was like, "Oh, well, we're dating again. We're having fun, and we're doing stuff. We always make time for us." But she was like, "Fuck them kids," like that, right? And I was like,
Mm,
"What?" She was like, "Yeah, because what happens is those kids gonna get big and then leave us, and then we don't have anything. So we gonna make sure we make time for us." And I was like, yo, that's some sage advice because you want to make sure that you have your friendship, that you have your relationship, that you have, personal time that you enjoy together, and that comes from, picking the right partner, that comes from, making the time and understanding, this different chapters, and you evolve as people individually too. That's a whole nother thing. So you
mm.
know what I'm saying? People have different dreams, different this, that, and the other. And like in Hollywood, nobody stay together. So
Listen, they don't. That's why I say kudos to you and your wife because y'all literally are like poster picture
don't
for your own thing.
everybody on their second and their third.
Yes,
I'm like,
literally on their second and third.
I'm
Most of them
like,
third.
I'm like, damn. Like, uh,
So let's get back to some of the comedy conversation because you are coming to City Winery. Remember, August 9th and the 10th, everyone, at City Winery. There are 2 shows per night. Make sure you get your tickets. Get your tickets. I can't stress it enough. But, this is no longer the days. We don't even have like Def Comedy Jam anymore. This is from when the first time that I saw you on stage was at Def Comedy Jam. So for the fact that back then, we still got the tapes. Look, so I'm showing my age. We still got the VHS tapes that we've had to transfer over to the CDs, then
Yeah.
transfer over to, we're doing all the things to keep the comedy coming with us. But back in Def Comedy Jam time, you could say anything. There was literally nothing that was considered taboo. But now everybody will say the word, maybe sensitive, maybe not. How do you navigate comedy in this time
It's
period?
so crazy. It's just like I don't even pay attention to it because it's just constricting and it makes it feel like we're being over censored. We're just comedians, man. We're here to make you laugh. Like we're not politicians. We're not passing policy and stuff like that. We are here to lighten the load of the people. We're here to be the social commentators of life and what's going on in the culture, what's funny, what's not, and so like with that responsibility comes like, we need the arms to touch the stuff.
Right.
Like, oh, we're gonna talk about this. You know what I mean? Like right now, everybody's talking about, Shannon Sharp. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, I
Shannon,
literally just read
like,
that before I came to
like
talk to you. Yes.
gone, gone, gone. I told
Gone. Like
Shannon
I just
Sharp.
said to
I
myself, my
told
God.
Shannon Sharp. I said he got to do a turkey drive to get these people to calm down. Especially, he should have gave turkeys to every white person he knew.
Right. Because at this point, that's where he's at. I mean, I could not believe when I read that literally before we started talking that they took him in Camden, but I feel like they claimed that it was because of the settlement, whatever. I'm like, that girl got her payday, and now she's living good, and now he's in here on the
Now,
stage
now,
modeling.
now he on YouTube.
And
I,
his show was so good. Like, I don't understand it.
I thank God. I think what's, like obviously this is a hot topic. It just dropped, right?
Just dropped.
I think the beauty of Shannon Sharp for me is his resilience, and he doesn't take himself too serious, which is cool. And I think people love him still. You know what I mean? Everybody saw that as a money grab. Like everybody knew that was a money grab. I mean,
It
it
had to
it
be.
was yeah. That situation was something he was dealing with, which he should have just not dealt with that one. That's a different, I mean, that's just a different
I
type of
hope
gear.
lessons was learned. That's all I
Yeah,
can say
like
is I
that,
hope lessons was learned.
when you mess with OnlyFans, you can only get in trouble.
That's it. Like there's nothing that can come from that. So when you hear people talk about they got OnlyFans, I'm gonna only not watch because I ain't got
I'm only gonna stay away from that.
I'm gonna stay the hell away because I ain't got time.
That's
No.
it. It's just like that's like putting your hand on the grill. What's gonna happen? You put your hand on that hot ass grill, you're
You
gonna
getting
get
burnt
burned.
every
There it
single
is.
time. Yeah, I
There
was
it is.
taken back by it. I said, "Oh my gosh!" But of course, I just think he'll bounce back. I think hopefully lessons
Yeah,
will be learned.
I feel like it doesn't mean your life is over. He didn't kill nobody or whatever. It's just an embarrassing situation. And it's also, I hate to see a black man, as soon as we get ourselves cracking,
He was on a
we
roll. He was on a roll.
rolling, and then here come the dum dum. And people know that when you rolling like that, that you know what, they can make money. People know that. So they
Yeah.
just go
So
for
if you're listening, anybody that's listening, this is like literally a piece of advice. Like
it.
keep
Yeah.
your people tight and
Keep it,
airtight.
what they say, keep your business in order.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because God forbid.
That
So
don't never, you don't never, that don't never happen to black women though. You ever hear about a black woman, she get going, boom, boom, boom. You ain't never ever heard Oprah be like, Oprah was on OnlyFans.
heck no, she ain't stupid. We know better. We got discernment. We ain't playing that game.
Oprah, like Studman still here, Stedman.
Right. And she don't care what you think about the fact that
We
they
ain't
still
seen
getting
we ain't
nominated.
seen Stedman in 20 years, but he around there in the yard somewhere.
He's somewhere. He know we know he ain't went nowhere. So I want to also talk about your book, Top Billing, which I think was an amazing read. And what inspired you to just write it? Because again, I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I really just want to hone in because when you hear people talking about their books and they're telling their stories, what I liked about it was that you get to control your narrative. I loved about
Right.
loved about that. So let's talk about
Yeah.
it.
Well, what I thought was really cool about doing this book was that, COVID turned into a blessing for me because we weren't doing anything and I wasn't so busy that I couldn't focus. And I was like, wow, I took advantage of that downtime. And I thought about my life and I was like, dang, man, I accomplished some things. And I was like, no one's going to be able to tell the story better than me. You know what I mean? Because no one had an opportunity to be inside my mind and my experiences, and I get an opportunity to show the world or tell the world what really happened. I thought was a wonderful opportunity, and for it to be funny and insightful and inspirational, because I want people to be inspired by me. Like I want people to be like, man, Bill Bellamy sound like a dude like grew up around my way. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
like I always felt like I was the even to this day, I feel like I'm representing us. Like I always feel like it's important for me to be right on my way I look, how I speak, what I'm talking about. Like I always feel like I have to show people that we can do it all, right? And so with that responsibility, I just felt like, I wanted to tell my story in a way that nobody could mess it up or try to tell some version of what they thought I did. I know what I did, and I put it down for the culture. You know what I mean? I
Right.
feel like I was in the right place at the right time, and I really wanted us to win. You know what I mean? I wanted, Snoop's first album to win. I wanted, Tupac and Big and Beyonce, and when they came out, with Destiny's Child, I was there for their first album. The Fugees, all those artists was new then.
Right.
The Brat was the first female rapper to ever go platinum. I was there for that album. Queen Latifah, Naughty by Nature, all these artists we came up together, Salt and Pepper, So, I just thought the book would be really, really dope, especially, with people now do audios and they want to listen. And
Yes.
there's people that's a certain age be like, yo, that's my era. That man, I always wanted to know what Bill Bellamy was doing back then.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I'm old enough to like say that. I'm like, yeah, I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Does it bother you when people say that they look up to you? Does that bother you?
No, 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 no. That's a compliment. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's awesome, that people are inspired because you have done it right then. You did it the right way. If people want to be like you, if they want to emulate your your blueprint, I think that's an awesome thing.
I love that. So I also talk about mental health and wellness on my show, and not that I'm asking you to be an expert, but an
Mhm.
expert on you. What do you do on your downtime that you feel takes care of you? Because, with touring, writing, you got your kids growing up, you got all these things happening all at the same time, which I love that for you. But what do you do for yourself that's also taking care of you?
Well, the thing that I think is most important about mental health is loving yourself too. Like, don't forget to love yourself. Don't forget to give yourself grace. We are so hard on ourselves. We make a mistake and we get down in the dumps. Be able to be resilient and bounce back. That's that flexibility of being able to pivot or to recover.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And sometimes we do that by exercise. Sometimes we do that by getting a massage, or you know what, go smell some flowers, or go for
That's
a
so right.
walk and just, listen to your favorite podcast, or laughter. People forget just laughing is so good for you. You can't laugh and cry at the same time. So it's like I feel like my gift to the world is laughter, So even though I'm making you laugh, I laugh every day. I laugh all the time. Like I laugh at least 50 times a day about something. I don't know. Maybe that's why I still look young, because I don't take it that deep. Like I like, all right, well, you know what? I'll figure it out. Boom, 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 boom. Let me take a beat. Let me digest it. Let me, let's evaluate, and then let's figure out a solution. Like I don't just be like, oh my God. You know what I mean? What is oh my God gonna do? Nothing.
Right. Speaking of podcasts, when is your podcast coming back? When is the new
Soon as
season?
I can get this new studio locked in, we'll be up and rolling. We're gonna add some new different aspects to the top billing. I think that'll make it really sexy and fly and make people be like, oh shit, they done leveled up. So we're gonna level up on season 2. I would say that in the next 2 months or so we'll be up and rolling.
Love to hear it. So
Yeah.
before we go, is there anything that you want to tell the people outside of coming to the show? Remember, it's August the 9th and August the 10th here in
Yes.
Philadelphia at City Winery. Get your tickets. Don't say I didn't tell you. But what else would you like to leave with the people before we end?
I want everybody to let's be kinder to each other. Let's look out. Call some people, man. Check on your people, man. I just been noticing lately that a lot of people we have lost Malcolm Jamal Warner. We have lost this one. We have lost that. And I'm like, we never know. We always think people are all good. Like, call somebody and say, "Are you really good? Are you okay? Let me come by and check on you." Let's
Yes.
do that. Like, I think that should be something like we should call it like, let's check on somebody Tuesdays, and let's check on somebody Wednesdays. Like, call somebody you ain't talked to and just check on them and see how they feel. Cause you might make their day better. You don't know what they're going through. And maybe you might be their reset, you know?
Very true. Very, very true. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and a part of this conversation. I cannot wait to see you
Mhm.
next week, August the 9th and the 10th, everyone. City Winery. Y'all know it's going to be fun. You know the food is
Oh, it's
good.
gonna
You
be
know we're going to
crazy,
see food.
T. That's how we do it out here.
That's what I'm saying.
We lit, baby.
All right. So, what did you think about today's conversation? I thought it was extremely well rounded. I laughed. It was hilarious. And let me just say, we talked prior to the recording on the same day that we recorded. And even the conversations that wasn't recorded, just the banter between back and forth between us, it literally was a breath of fresh air. Let me just say this. He is absolutely everything you could think about when you see Bill Bellamy. Like when you think of him and then you talk with him and then you see him and you've experienced, he is everything that I could have ever imagined. A great, 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 great interview by far. In addition to that, again, just seeing the different aspects of him, seeing the different sides of him, all wrapped up in one bow in this interview. I could not have said, it's just this could not have gone any better. But I'm super grateful for Bill just deciding that he was going to be on the show, and again to make sure that he promotes his newest tour that is happening right now. And again, he will be in Philadelphia next week, August the 9th and August the 10th, depending on what time you are listening to this 2025. And he will be at the City Winery, and that is 2 shows per night. So make sure that you get your tickets. That's 4 shows you've had opportunity to see in 4 times in one weekend. You've had listen, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up whatsoever. Do not mess it up. So let us finish this conversation. We talked about the school supplies. We talked about the barriers of different people not being able to afford it, all of those different things. But I also want to talk to you this week about our mental health moment of the week. So, for this week's conversation, I really want to focus on the fact that I was on TikTok. I love staying on that clock app, and I'm on there. I'm on all social media as Toy Time Blog, but I was listening to the good TikTok, and on the TikTok, there was a young lady that was talking about how she doesn't have friendships with anybody that doesn't love themselves. And a lot of the reason is because a lot of times, if somebody doesn't love themselves, they treat you like a therapist, or they live through you, and then they try to humble you every chance they can get because their spirit ain't right. Now, I also saw where somebody else was talking about like telling your friends they look bad or telling them to change their clothes. This has been a conversation that's been going on for years. And so in this video, the first video before we start talking about the clothes ones, is that she's just like, listen, I can't be with any friends with anybody, in a romantic relationship with anybody, any type of relationship with anybody, no matter what the relationship is, if I am dealing with someone who again doesn't love themselves. Because having someone treat you like you're a therapist when they won't actually go get therapy is absolutely annoying. Let me repeat that one more time. Having someone treat you like a therapist without actually wanting to go ahead and go through with therapy is absolutely annoying. This goes well beyond somebody just being your friend and staying there and helping you through a hardship. This is not the same thing. We are talking about the people who have access, who have availability, who has all the different things that they could do to have themselves have and get therapy, but instead they would prefer for them to dump all their mess on you. And let me just say, as much as they are the problem, you will be the even more problem when you accept that. When you accept that behavior, when you accept it to continue on, I promise you that you're not doing anything but making this harder for yourself. So if any advice I can give is to stop allowing this to be a thing. If you continue to allow certain things to be, it is going to happen and you're going to feel overwhelmed. So stop becoming and entangle yourselves with these friendships, these relationships, these situationships that you know that the person is going to do everything they can to humble you. And how do people humble you? They want to belittle the things that you're doing. They're going to make sure that they make sure everybody around them knows that they have something that is bigger, that's better, that they're happier, that all these different things. Because as long as they humble you, they can feel like they're on top of the world. And some of y'all may not understand that, but if you even with like friendships, you people don't realize how much they can be trauma bonded to a person. You'd be like, why are they still hanging around that person? Why are they still doing with that person? Because they are trauma bonded to them. And so they continue to put up with the ups and downs. They know good and well that the ship has completely sailed, but because they are trying to do their best to make a best decision, this is what happens. If you are around someone who consistently tries to humble you, make you feel like you're less than, you're not smart enough, you're not big enough, you don't have, I remember one of my friends would get married or they would get engaged and then all of a sudden they would flip. Now, listen, as a wife, I understand that you're going to change. I understand that you got to change because you're in a new lifestyle. You're in a new way of moving and doing different things. But if you are the type of friend that has to go out of your way to make sure you let your single friends know that they ain't shit just because they're single, I promise you have not learned the lesson. And I'm going to repeat this lesson to you because my mother taught me, and I know for 100% that she has not been wrong. If you don't understand the concept that just because you got married, which people are starting to let people know that being married is not a flex, especially and exclusively when you're not married to the right person. But when you get married, you never know when you can be single again. You never know what could happen. It could be a gamut of things that can go left. It doesn't always have to be a divorce. It could be all kinds of things that could happen, that could take place in your life, that can make you a single woman all over again. And so while we shit on our single friends, especially women, I need you to stop that. Listen, having a female friend, having friends that are there for you, that can help you through all the different things, you have that and you are rich. Like, I don't care how much money you have, if you have good quality friendships, friends who have been there from the beginning to the end, friends who have endured the test of time, who can give you mutually respected love back and forth, you are rich in life. But there are so many people who don't understand that you cannot ostracize your friends in the name of marriage. But you got to find out that balance. It may take you a while. But don't ever look down on somebody because they're single, because I'm telling you, these are the same type of friends that will be willing and waiting to humble you because this is how they play. Please don't be that friend, and please don't accept that type of friendship. Don't accept the bare minimum. We don't do bare minimum around here. I want to remind you, we just don't do it. You are definitely beautifully inquired and intelligent enough to receive the love that you are to receive, and it should be mutual. Anything that's not mutual, you don't want it. So end that right now. So yes, we had Bill Bellamy. We had a great week. We had the conversation with the TikTok story of the week. Y'all been acting up in these internet streets. Let's get into the internet streets before we end this podcast, because some of y'all have been out here acting a fool, and I'm just trying to figure out. I am honestly trying to figure out. One thing I need to do is stay off that dang on TikTok, because as soon as I'm on that app, I see things that just God ain't even in it. Like, I don't know what happened, but it's not good. First of all, if you've been living under a rock, you know that Shannon Sharp, we talked about this with Bill Bellamy, had his situation that went down. And what I do appreciate was that the fact that he was very much more concerned with the fact that he didn't want to overshadow his brother who had went into the Hall of Fame. He did not want to shadow that at all. And so that, again, that's not the issue this week. Even with all of that, that's not the issue this week at all. People being upset about Klay Thompson being with Megan Thee Stallion, can we just say it does not make sense? Most of the folks cannot even get anywhere near Megan Thee Stallion, right? You got all kind of different C-level rappers arguing and fighting in the air because they didn't get a chance to be with her. And by her, I mean Megan Thee Stallion. And I'm just like, I'm really just trying to understand the fact that again, these issues just keep popping up. People worrying about what's happening with Megan? Why is she with this person? You should have been with me. All these different things. And people actually crashing out online. That part I don't understand. I don't understand. And so the conversations have been hilarious surrounding that, just that alone. Literally just that alone, because people are all kinds of upset about this. Personally, I don't care. It doesn't mean much to me because it's not my relationship. It's not my situation. So I wish that we would follow, let's we just get a little dip of that and us all follow all those things. But I do want to talk about the fact that this is the month of August. There's so many amazing things happening. And it is a good day to just talk about what are the national holidays as we end the show for the week. What are the national holidays? All right, today being August the 1st, it is International Beer Day, Mountain Climbing Day, National Girlfriends Day, National Pinball Day, and Raspberry Cream Pie Day. So hopefully you find something that you can celebrate within those days. I want to remind you, I used to celebrate or find what the national holidays were because it was a way for me to keep and look at something positive. Instead of looking at the things that were negative, just taking 5 seconds to look at something positive, and that was the way that I did it. And I enjoy and still enjoy knowing what the national holidays are of the day because, again, it's all about finding your own personal positivity in this world. So with that being said, I want you to have a great weekend. This is a great weekend. This is me and my husband's 13th wedding anniversary this weekend. And so we are going to be in full celebration all weekend long. I'm super happy, super excited. And marriage takes a while. It takes a lot to get your footings together. I don't care how long you know each other. I've known my husband since 1999. We have been or maintained some level of friendship throughout this whole situation before we got married and as we got married. And, I am grateful for the marriage that we have. It is definitely not perfect. No one's marriage is. But I feel like as long as you're being active and being an active participant in the fact and showing up for the person that you choose to be with. And again, making sure that that person is the right person for you and understanding that marriage is such a big mirror. I feel like you can conquer any and all things. So with that being said, I hope that you had a great weekend. Thank you, Bill Bellamy, for being a part of this podcast. Also, make sure that you get your tickets for next Saturday and Sunday, August the 9th and the 10th, to see him as he does his tour at City Winery here in Philadelphia. He will be touring at other places, but this is where he'll be in Philly. I'm going to post the ticket link so that you can get your tickets. Please do not see me on these streets and say, I wish I had known. I am telling you that Bill Bellamy is coming next week, the 9th and the 10th. Get your tickets. Get them ASAP. See you in the building. I am going to one of the shows. Not going to reveal which one it is, but I will be in the building because that's just what I want to do. And I can't wait to laugh. We all need a good laugh. It's going to be an amazing show. I hope to see you there. Have a great weekend. Make sure you do at least one activity that makes you happy, that fills your cup. And I will see you next week with Conversations with Toy.
Thank you as always for joining me. And I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations, that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.